what if I never walk normal again? Like, what if I can't ever run again? Oh, this is not just like a broken bone. Like, I'm gonna have to learn how to walk again. I'm gonna have to like learn how to bend my leg and stuff. Every day is going to be different. Don't get too discouraged if you aren't improving the way you think you should be improving. Don't compare yourself to other people. Let yourself relax.
From knee injury and a broken bone to now racing her very first dirt bike race, we have Sasha Vitalie coming in to share her story and experiences with you today. She talks all things on how changing her perspective has helped her excel in her sport and what the healing process looked like for her. This is an episode you do not want to miss, and I'll catch you on the other side.
Okay.
Awesome,
This is
awesome.
actually
Well,
my first time ever using Zoom too.
okay.
So yeah, first time ever. I don't know how I've made it so far. I know
I
it's
was gonna
like
say
been a
that's
big
cool.
thing since COVID.
Yeah, because it was like such a thing with COVID, right? But maybe like were you doing FaceTiming or
I mean, yeah, I guess I did more FaceTiming than
yeah,
Zoom. I think I
yeah.
got a Zoom account. That's the furthest I went.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, Zoom, love it or hate it. I try to do more FaceTime than I would Zoom. And that's probably why I went the route with doing the Instagram lives, just because I didn't want to pay for a subscription with Zoom, but oh well.
Oh, I didn't even realize you had to pay for it.
Yeah,
Jeez.
especially if you want to go past, I think what the cutoff time is 40 minutes.
Oh, I
So,
did
and
not know that.
yeah, and so I always found when I would try to do the Zoom, then all of a sudden, like my time came up, and then I'd have to like recall that person. It just became super annoying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, I'm gonna start. Hey, hi, and hello, Angelisa here, your host for Braap Babes Throttle Talk, and I'm so excited to be sitting down with Sasha Vitalie. Did I say that right?
It's more Sasha, but I don't, that sounded good. And
Sa-
Vitaly, but that's either Vitali or Vitali. It's yeah,
okay, okay,
potato
Sasha.
potato, I
I
think.
feel like I do pronounce the A's quite a lot, so Sasha. Okay. Well, I've been so fascinated with your journey as a dirt bike rider. And also how
Thank
you
you.
recovered, yeah, how you recovered your injury, which we'll talk about, and also how talented you are as an artist. So I'm very excited to explore all of the things with you. And yeah, we're just going to dive in and learn a little bit more about you. So, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is like something I did not expect at all. So yeah, thank you for having me,
Yeah,
taking the time
absolutely.
out.
Yeah, well, thank you. Okay, well, let's jump in and let's learn more about you. So, why don't you introduce yourself and let us know where you're coming from?
So my name is Sasha Vitale, as you heard. I'm 29 years old. I live in Western Pennsylvania. I don't want to like get specific. I don't think it really matters, but Western Pennsylvania is what I'll call it. And I started riding just 3 years ago. My husband always rode his whole life, but I never thought that was something I would be interested in. And yeah, I started, I guess it was probably when a lot of people started in 2012, no, 2021, but I know a lot of people were like buying off-road things, but it wasn't just a phase. It stuck.
Yeah, totally. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so would you say that it was your husband that got you into the sport then?
I was thinking about this specifically and I was talking to him about it and I was like, I guess kind of, but technically not because we'd been together for like 7 years and I think I tried it like maybe two times and I was like, yeah, this is like not for me. I will never like get used to the clutch. And I didn't really know that many girls that rode. His sister, who's now 19, like she was a kid at the time. So I didn't know anybody like my age. So I wasn't really like, I guess, enticed. I was thinking back specifically, I went to a GNCC race in 2020. And I had my husband, he raced a couple of years. We moved to Virginia. He didn't race at all for 4 years. He didn't ride barely for 4 years. So this was like the first race I'd been to in 4 years, and I did not want to go at all. Like we laugh about this now because I would say I like talked to my brother-in-law and he's like, "What's wrong, Sasha?" And I'm like, this is just not my thing. Like, like I'm like happy because my nephew was racing. And I was like, I'm happy for him. Like, it's just like not my thing. Like, I was like tired because like you get up early and then like you're like in the dirt and you're outside all day in the hot sun. I was like, yeah, it's like not for me. And then I remember like seeing the girls go by and I was like, that is so cool. Like, I never, like, I knew of girl racers, but I never like got to see them up close because it felt like such a boys' club. So, Rachel Gudish actually won that race, and I like looked it up like to make sure that this was right. But she won the race, and she races like ISDE. Like she raced a couple hard enduros, but she mainly did GNCC, and she's my age. And I saw her like on the podium, and I was like, that is so cool. Like I think I might. That's like interesting. Like I didn't. I guess I never thought deeply like there's more women out there who ride and race. So that got me into it like mentally. I was like, hey, I mean, I don't know, like I'm 27 and like there's girls retiring as racers and I'm like I don't necessarily see a career, but like I still want to like do it and try it. So he had a 250XC, KTM 250XC. He also has an old, he still has it, a KX 125. It's a four stroke. It's a true motocross bike. It's like a 2004 or something, and that I got to putt around on that. Um, like the first time, like I got to play with that a little bit. The clutch was just like terrible, especially like it needs to be wound out too, and I was not doing that. And I got to try his XC, and I was like, this is like, and I got to do it in field. That made a big difference. Like being able to just start flat and just not worry about a hill, not worry about like up or down. So I got to try it in the field, and I was like, I really like this. And my husband was like so excited, so we like jumped on the like getting my bike. So that's how I got into it. It was Josh, my husband, as well as I think because like if it was him, I would have probably gotten into it earlier. But because I got to see, I guess like girl racers in person and like oh, this is something that's really cool and really interesting. So
Mhm.
that's how I got into it. I'm blabbering, I feel like.
No, that's great. And I think once you are there, when you're immersed in it and you see it for the first time, it opens up your eyes. Like when you see it online, you see it on, like Instagram if you're scrolling, YouTube, whatever. But it's not until you're actually in person and actually
Yeah,
seeing it that it's this huge wave, I find anyways, this huge wave of like inspiration. They're like, oh my gosh, if she can do it, maybe I can too.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's really cool.
exactly.
And it was you mentioned the name Rachel.
Cutish.
Okay.
Her Instagram name is Rachel Gutfish, but she's been like a pro probably I don't know since she was like 16 or something.
Cool.
But she's my age and she races the ISTE. She's done that a couple years. She's not so much like on the hard enduro side. Like this year she did like I think just one race. But she does like the US sprint enduros. It's definitely on like the east coast of like GNCC is like I'm pretty sure all east coast.
Okay.
Kind of
Yeah.
that's like the opposite side. You might probably hear way less about that than
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Have you ever told her, like, or met her in person and tell
I
her?
actually I met her in person. I didn't tell her that story,
Uh-huh.
but because I didn't really realize it. Like I was like, oh yeah, that was Rachel Goodich that I saw. So I did get to meet her. I went to like an all girls dirt bike camp. It was like the first one they did. It was like for GNCC more so type of riding, which is cross country. And I got to meet her in person. And she's just like super down to earth and really nice. It was like hard to kind of talk to her for a while though. Like there was a lot of people like, wanting to get the girl racers,
For sure.
talk to them. Everyone was like kind of waiting to talk. So I talked to her a little bit there, like here and there, like I'll see her and like I should tell her that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's like the reason why I interview women like yourself is you we're impacting other women, even if we don't know it in some way, shape, or
Yeah.
form, you know? So, yeah, I think she would really appreciate that story.
Yeah, I should tell her.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay, so yes, you got inspired, and your husband Josh, he's been
Mhm.
riding for a while.
Yeah,
So
he grew up riding. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, so you told us a little bit about how you got into the sport. What was your first bike, and what are you riding now?
So my first bike was actually the bike you ride, I know. It's a 150 XCW. I had a
Mm,
2021, yeah, 2021 150 XCW. We like watched so many YouTube videos, like what to buy. Um, I'm not like super tall, but I'm also not like 5 feet. Like I'm 5'5".
okay.
And so I didn't want to, well, it wasn't my, I was talking to my husband. He said like maybe if you try on a full frame first, so that way you don't have to adjust to that. I don't know if that was the best thing to do, but I had a pretty, because I think his cousin's like my height and he rides a full frame bike, and it's like, oh, like he kind of fits that pretty well. Like we should maybe just try with a full frame, so that way you get used to this bike, and it's going to be like more of a forever bike, I guess, even though I still don't have it. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, I like that was a really good bike though. I really like that bike.
What's that? I don't know. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And so now are you on the 300?
I'm on a 300. Yeah.
300 XCW?
Yeah,
Yeah.
CW.
Yeah.
Headlighting.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm kind of the same. Like the 150 was supposed to be my forever bike. Yeah, realizing that oh, the 300 would actually be like a pretty fun bike, especially with some hill climbs, and it is quite
It's
a
easier
big
to
difference.
ride.
Yeah. I kind
Yeah, it's like, and I think that's like I talked to Sarah Bulford. I don't know how to say her name, but Mountain Darling.
yeah,
She went from a 150 to 300,
yeah.
and I was talking to her, and she's like, it's like so like I love it so much, and I'm like, yeah, but like this is like a good bike too. Like it's light, it's super nimble.
Yeah.
But I was just like, well, this bike, I did break my leg on this bike, so maybe I should get something else.
Okay,
That was
so
my
you
excuse.
you broke your leg or your knee.
Yes.
Okay, on the
So
150?
it was on my 150. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I guess
Tell
we
me.
can get into that now, or we can.
Yeah, well, okay, well, now that we mentioned it, tell me more. Tell me all about it.
Okay. So, this was last year, so 2022. So I've been
Okay.
riding for a full year. It was just like a year. I started riding in February of 2021. Broke my leg in June of 2022. So I was like a year in. I was like starting to kind of feel like, okay, like I kind of know what I'm doing. Like I'm not tipping over so much. Like, I felt definitely like more, I guess less of the imposter syndrome. Like I didn't like tell that many people I rode dirt bikes because I didn't
Right.
want people to be like, oh, like she's not even good. But like, I think you have to be good to ride dirt bikes, but or any sport or any hobby, you have to be good to start. But yeah, I was like starting to feel like used to the bike. I think I did ski camp at that point. Yeah, I did do ski camp at that point, and that was in March. So a couple months before that. So I started to feel like a little bit faster. I was like making up hills I never made before. I was starting to like go over obstacles a little bit more. And we were just like riding one day. We have like an area that we ride on, and there's like some single track and cross country, but it's not like it's not something that's like I guess like public necessarily. Like nobody really like it's kind of like whispers you hear about these trails because it's not like technically legal to ride on them if
Right.
it's like runs into staking when and so they're not like taken care of at all. They're just kind of they're pretty rough sometimes. Some of them are beaten down with like quads though, but the part that we were riding on was like it was like pretty like rocky of a hill. It was something I actually did before. It was a rocky hill. And there was like logs, and I still have issues with logs, especially when they're like to the side, like they're crooked on
On an
the path. So
angle.
you have to like line, yeah, you have to like you should line it up and go on it. But like sometimes you can't do that. Like
Mhm.
there's no room to. You go like really over it. But there's a log, and I got over it, and I kind of was going a little faster than I think I should have been going because I in my mind I remember thinking like, oh, I do not want to get stuck. So I just like kind of like, probably gave it a little bit more than I didn't have the clutch control to pull it back in. And my bike just like tipped over like really fast. And it's done that before on me where like it quickly pushes me over, but my left leg, like my foot was planted and it was like up against a rock.
Mhm.
And so I didn't like slide out. Like, so when it tipped over, it smacked my leg and then I fell over and I heard a pop and I was like, oh, like I bet that's like a tendon or something. Like, I never broke a bone in my body,
Okay.
never pulled anything. So I didn't really know. I'm like, I just think it was like super painful. I was like excruciating pain
Oh,
immediately. It was like very fast. And I was like, oh my gosh. So like I yelled too as soon as my bike hit me because I like it hurt immediately. Like I knew there was something wrong. So like we were pretty deep in the woods, not like miles and miles. I think it was like 3 miles and around that. And I was with a couple there. My husband, my nephew, and our friend was there too. And I was just like laying there, and I'm like, okay, like if I bend my leg and like try to move is it not going to hurt? And then it hurt. And then if I like, okay, if I straighten out, is that not going to hurt? And then that hurt too. So like, no matter what I did, it kind of like just jolted pain. So, I was sitting on the ground and I was making jokes at this point too. Like I was like kind of joking about it, but I was like, the pain just like kept getting worse and worse. And, we're like, how do we get out of here? Like, my father-in-law has like a side by side and we're like, maybe we can take it in the woods. And it like where we were at, you couldn't get through there with anything other than a dirt bike. So um, we figured out that I could sit in front of my husband on the bike facing him because I didn't have to like really hold on because I just like I was like falling on top of him. So I rode in front of his bike. I had my boots off, had my helmet off. The two other guys, thankfully, were like help like carrying my stuff, and then we made it out of the woods. I felt every bump. And then I came home because I was like, okay, I know I have to go to the ER, but I'm wearing my gear and I want to take it off. So I did take off my gear before my ex. They'll cut it right off. If you go to the hospital, they're gonna cut your gear right off.
yeah.
It's expensive. So I got
Yeah.
home, took my pants off, I changed, was wearing like shorts and a t-shirt, and went to the ER. Got in pretty quickly, which was nice because COVID was still happening. But um, they did an X-ray, and whenever I was going on the table, we both heard like the pop, and I was like, "Is that bone?" And she's like, "I'm not allowed to say, but that's a good guess." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So when I got to look at the X-ray, like I couldn't really see that much, but what happened was, so my tibia, like the top of my tibia, the femur actually like pushed down. And the way my like surgeon explained it, he said if you hit a hammer on the top of your tibia, that's pretty much what your bone did. It just hit so hard, and the piece of cartilage on top like pushed down in the bone. So that's why it was so painful. And I had to get surgery, not immediately, but I had to like go home, keep my leg in like one of those straight things, go home. So that was the Friday, and then I had surgery the Wednesday. And I got to like Google the injury a little bit more, and it was like, oh, this is not just like a broken bone. Like I'm gonna have to learn how to walk again. I'm gonna have to like learn how to bend my leg and stuff. So I saw the recovery time was 6 months, and I was like, oh my gosh, and it was like right in the beginning of summer, so it's like June, and yeah, that's how it happened. I had my surgery. That was also very painful.
Mm.
Um, and I got like a plate and a couple screws in my leg, which is like, I don't know, it's kind of cool, I guess, to have that.
You got some
Have
hardware
that
in
in
there.
there. Yeah, I got some hardware. I'm like bionic now.
Okay, so just so that I can understand, it's the top of your tibia. So like I guess like
Yeah,
where your knee sits and
Yeah.
both bones
Yeah.
just kind of crushed the meniscus or the cartilage and pushed it down.
Yeah, the cartilage. I luckily had no tendon issues because I had an MRI and I like thankfully it was just I mean, not that it was good that was bone, but thankfully it was just the bone. I didn't have to worry about like repairing any tendons. But
Okay.
yeah, it was bone. But it was the recovery and like even like the exercises are very similar to like a knee replacement or like a tendon repair. So like it is kind of it's still a knee. I would call it a knee injury. Like it's still part like you can't move your knee with the injury. So
Yeah.
I would call it
Still knee
yeah.
injury, but yeah, it's way more complex, obviously. Obviously, because it's not
Yeah.
tendon, it's bone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had to get
Oh,
cadaver a little bit of cadaver bone filler. So that was interesting.
okay. Wow, that's so crazy. Okay, so you had the surgery a couple days after the incident.
I was an emergency, so
Okay.
technically I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Recovery time mentioned 6 months, correct? Yeah.
hmm
Okay. So, which actually leads us into the next segment is like, how did recovery go? What did you do? Did you have any like rehab exercises, and that sort of thing? So you can tell us more about that.
So recovery, the first, I think it was 6 weeks, like I couldn't move my knee. So, a lot of stuff I did like the single leg lifts and like to the side and to the back. I think that was after like 2 weeks I was allowed to do that, do like foot pumps and things like that. Um, I was able to start weight bearing after 6 weeks, and then every week I progressively added a little bit more weight. And at that time, I was allowed to do more exercises. I did do physical therapy as well. I had that once a week, and that was a couple weeks. I didn't finish it, which is not good. I just like quit because I started going back to
Okay.
work, and I was like, I like waking up extra early to go to physical therapy and then go to work, and I felt like I could do it at home, the
Yeah.
exercises, but just like the non-weight bearing exercises for a couple weeks
Mhm.
and then adding weight bearing. But the recovery process was pretty painful at first,
Mm.
honestly. It was really, really painful. I think because well, they with any injuries now with like pain medication, because there's such like an epidemic of people abusing painkillers,
Mhm.
they really give you like a little bit amount, like they make sure you don't have too much.
Mhm.
So I felt like the first couple days were extra painful because of that, but um I just like slept a lot. I didn't really have an appetite during that time. I remember like I was just really hot too because it was like June and like early July, so it was like pretty hot. Um, I was super super sore every day. Like it was just very painful. Like you would just go. I remember going to the bathroom. Like it was just such an ordeal to like have to like hobble to the bathroom. So yeah, it was definitely like you lose your autonomy. Like you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm like someone has to take care of me. And I like hate asking for help. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And
Mhm.
asking like having to ask for help to like just like basic things like that, just getting up to like, grab your phone that's a little bit far away or like food, like someone like has to cook for you because you can't just like carry things around the kitchen with crutches. So there's like a lot of things that like I didn't think about, but I would say I was like in pretty good spirits though. Like I'm like close to my siblings and um like I have a good support system, but even with that, it's like mentally injuries are just so it's crazy that like people can it just shows you how resilient people are. Like you don't realize like how resilient you are until something like that happens. But like some people they just like go right back into it. And that was yeah, it is crazy.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounds like, yeah, you had a great support system. And so actually, if you don't mind, that was one of my questions is touching on a little bit of the mental side of things when you are going through an injury. Um, yes, there's the rehab, but how did you stay motivated to do like continue your stretches, continue your exercises, because it's so easy to fall a bit into that slump. So did you have any mind shifts or mindsets that you had to work on every day to get to that place?
I think I just try to take it like day by day. Um, and I did actually, I found a Facebook group actually that helped a lot with that injury because it's like, I guess more on the rare side. So like most people you say like, oh, I had a tibial flat toe fracture. They don't know what you're talking about. So like having a group of people where you got to see like similar injuries and surgeries and the recovery process and what they did, that kept me motivated. And then like seeing people like there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like yeah, the worst case scenario, you might not ever walk normal, but that's the worst case scenario. And you can see these people who are like running or like jumping and going on long hikes, and you're like, okay, like that's my goal. Like I know I can work towards that. That helped a lot. And then I actually found a guy who he's like an influencer. His name is Adventure Daily. And I was just Googling like in YouTube because I love YouTube. And I
Mhm.
was looking on YouTube for that injury and I saw like a dirt bike and I saw like he was riding his dirt bike in the same leg, I think even. Um, he just like was racing. He set his foot down. He broke his leg the same way. So I reached out to him because I watched his videos and I'm like, hey, like I really like your videos a lot. Like it's so helpful to like see somebody else with the same injury and like ask how he's doing. So that was nice too. So like having I guess like social media, like oddly enough, like really helped me a lot.
Mhm. That's so interesting that you said that there's a Facebook group one for this specific type of
Yeah,
injury.
this
How
Facebook is
cool.
for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, how cool is that? So that's actually, great advice for those that are listening or watching in is if you do have a specific type of injury that could be, slightly on the rare side, I'm sure there's a Facebook group. I'm sure you're not the
Yeah,
only one that's going through it. So thanks for sharing
yeah, exactly.
this. That's a huge help for sure.
Yeah,
And also reaching out to those influencers too that have a like similar injury as well. That's really
yeah.
cool. And especially sharing the same sport and yeah. So
Yeah, I
it
can
sounds like
relate a lot.
yeah, so it sounds like you did do a lot of research. You put yourself out there because one, it's not always easy doing that.
Yeah.
But I think that is key. It's key to like stay motivated and like have a healthy mind while you're going through an injury. And what that looks like is reaching out to others, seeing how their, process is, their journey is, and everyone is going to experience their own unique journey, but at least you have some comfort in knowing that you can get onto the other side.
Hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing that. And what a wild recovery and journey for you with that injury. So, how are you feeling now?
Pretty good. I definitely noticed the 1 year mark. I feel like that's where I really started to feel like myself again, like more normal, like a new normal.
Okay.
I do get sore. I feel like an old person because I can tell when it's gonna rain, like my knee hurts.
Yes.
Um, I deal with like a little bit of swelling here and there if I do like a lot of activity. Um, but other than that, and also I don't have the full bend yet. So like you start out, you try to bend a little bit more and more. I'm pretty close to like I would like to be able to do like sit all the way down like on my feet how I used to be able to.
Yeah.
So that's like one of my goals, but I feel pretty normal. I still can't like run really. Like I can if I had to run, I can kind of run like I limp a little bit, but like I'd like to try to run someday. I don't know if
Mhm.
I'll ever be able to again. I've
Okay.
really started to bike a lot, like
Okay.
cycle in my basement or like I'm trying to get more into biking because I used to kind of like to run. So,
Mhm.
but I feel pretty good, honestly. I
Yeah.
really do. I think it's like at one point I was a little worried about the metal in my leg if I should get that removed, but like right now I feel pretty good.
Okay.
So
Oh, that's good. And you're back on the bike. You're back dirt biking.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Which is awesome. So, what was the timeline between, I guess, recovery to getting back on the bike?
So injury was June 17th. I was because I went scrolled back because I actually posted on Instagram when I started going back on my bike, and that was September 30th, I believe.
Mhm.
So I missed the whole summer. Um, but there was a lot of people, like especially at my job, they were like, "Why are you going
Oh,
back on a bike? Like, are you crazy?" Like, or like even like, why would you, like, you're not obviously not good at it. Like, this, like, people just being weird. Like, why
right,
would you
right.
get back on it? Like, what's wrong with you? But yeah, in September 30th, I got back on.
Okay.
But I took it easy
Yeah.
for,
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, yeah, that's a pretty quick turnaround time when you think about it, you know.
yeah.
So good for you. Yeah. Yeah. And I know how it feels when everyone's like, wow, why would you do that? You just got injured. But it's like, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
People won't understand. Um,
No, they don't.
yeah, for sure. So I guess my other question is during your time of recovery, did you pick up any other hobbies?
That's a good question. My friend bought me like something to knit with because I learned how to knit when I was like a kid
Mhm.
and I never used it. Um, but also I really didn't. Honestly, I just like I just took advantage of just chilling out and like I did read a little bit.
Mhm.
I watched a lot of Netflix, but I didn't, unfortunately, because I remember when it first happened, like, man, I have so much time. Like I could like learn an instrument. I could
Mhm.
like, paint a bunch and stuff. And I just ended up not really. I think I just watched a lot of Netflix and YouTube,
Yeah.
honestly. But I didn't want to put pressure on myself. I just wanted to focus on like healing and relaxing and things like that. But no new hobbies. I should have took advantage of it more, but
But at the same time, like you did think about it, but honestly, it sounds like your body just needed to chill the F out, you know? I
yeah,
think we're,
exactly.
again, live in such a fast pace, like always having to do things. But I think when you sit back and you just take the time to heal, I think that's,
Yeah.
key. Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, good for you. So any advice you can give to those that might be injured right now?
I would say take it day by day. Definitely like don't get caught up in like the future. I would stress myself out like, oh my gosh, like what if I never walk normal again? Like what if I can't ever run again? Like just thinking about the worst case scenario. Just take it day by day. Every day is going to be different. Like I had days where I felt like, oh my gosh, like I don't have a limp at all today. I don't limp anymore, but that first full weight bearing, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not limping. I feel so good. Like, things are finally looking good. And then the next day I would be like sore because if I was walking a lot and then I would have that limp back. So like I would just say like take it day by day and like don't get too discouraged if you aren't improving the way you think you should be improving and like don't compare yourself to other people, especially that too. Like joining those groups was really helpful, but at the same time, it was kind of like, okay, like I had the injury at the same time, this person's further ahead of me. So I would just try to be like patient with yourself, let yourself relax. And I think that's like extra hard if you do like dirt bikes. Like these type of sports attract people who cannot sit still. So,
Mhm.
so just try to like um relaxed because you probably are hyperactive in some way. That's why you like high risk sports. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, let yourself relax, like ask for help. I was weird for me. Like, I don't know. I feel like asking for help is kind of hard sometimes, and you just feel like a burden to people. So, like, I would take advantage of people saying, like, do you want me to cook you a meal? Like, would you like me to bring this to your house? Would you like me to like vacuum your house? Don't just say like, oh, I got it. I'm on my, like, I'll be fine. like actually take advantage of the help that you can get from people because they care about you and they love you. That's why they're reaching out to you.
Mm.
And let's say that. And yeah, pretty much just day by day, like, yeah, take your time, relax.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, I love that. I love that so much, especially when you say like accept the help.
Yeah, it's hard for some people. I'm one of those people. I'm like, I don't know why. It's like I don't ask for help, but I don't like I always feel like, oh, I don't want to burden them. But like they love me. That's why they're, they want to see me feel good.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure. Awesome. And actually, I just saw that you did your first race, your first dirt bike race this year. Is that correct?
that is correct. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So from injury to like, am I ever going to walk again to now racing?
Good job, Sasha. Look at her face.
Tell me about that. Tell me like how did it feel to sign up for this race and then doing the race?
Um, I was I was really excited. It was I think around 1 year since my injury, so it's kind
Okay.
of like a kick in the face to my injury. Like, yes, like I overcame this.
Mhm.
I was really excited. I was really scared. Um, I didn't put too much pressure on myself, but it was still like scary. You just never know what could happen. Like you hear horror stories, and it was super scary, but very exciting. I definitely wanted to make sure I was good enough to race, like so I didn't like hurt myself or other people. But I felt pretty good about signing up. It was nice to get that like under my belt because I know some people kind of start off immediately racing. Some people don't race for a couple of years, and I just wanted to kind of try it out and see how I did.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And would you do it again?
I think I would. Yeah. So that race, it was the GNCC race, was pretty big. There was like a couple hundred people on at the same time together. And I did like a more local race that was like a similar style. And so I did two races, but the second one was a lot more like low key and relaxed, and less people. But I
Okay.
would do it again. I'd like to try other stuff. Like I would like to, I don't know if I would, how soon I'd be able to do it, but like try a hard enduro race. I think that would be really cool to try. Um, I don't know so much about like the GNCC ones just because they're just a different style that I don't think I really want to get really into. Like it's GNCC, like especially compared to the hard enduro, it's like a lot faster paced. Like you're gonna like they're double track, so like quads go on it the day before, and then dirt bikes are on it the next day. So they're pretty like fast. So I don't know if I would necessarily want to keep doing those because I am a little afraid of like hitting a tree or just like, you know, anything that's when you're going that fast.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Especially because that's kind of how you got injured in the first place. Do you find that you have a little bit of a fear from that, like going a bit quicker over obstacles?
Yes, definitely. More so at the beginning. I was like the area that we ride, like I was like so scared to even just go back to that area in general. Because I was like, what if that happens again? Like I'm not ready. Like I definitely psyched myself out. Like it was all, and it was crazy how much mental, like it's your just mind can put you in such a bad spot
Mhm.
and how much your mental state can affect your riding. Because like as soon as I start feeling discouraged, I would just like have those like intrusive thoughts of like, why am I even doing this? Like I'm like so bad. Like and then you're like scared. Or if you fall or something, you're like, oh no, like did I like break something? Yeah, I was definitely a little bit more scared. I think now logs are still like I want to be able to, I want to conquer them, but
Mhm.
I do still have that like in my head. Like sometimes it like pops in my head like as I'm trying to go over a log, oh like don't tip it over. 'Cause I'm afraid of that happening ever again. But it's just like I can't I can't control the fact that, I got hurt, and I can't control the fact that I could get hurt. Like, it's a high risk sport. So that's been like a lot of like a mental struggle. Less so now than back in the fall, but
Mhm.
yeah, definitely I still get a little freaked out.
Yeah, for sure. Big fears, big obstacles. It's not going to be instant, that's for sure. So good on you for still going and still trying and still like learning. Okay, I need to get over this, but I don't want to fall or I don't want to tip over. Like you're battling that as you're doing it, and that's not easy at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And in some cases too, when you are having those inner battles, like that's where you can get injured as well. So I'm sure like
it is. Yeah,
you have to
it's
come to
crazy.
a point where you need to like calm yourself. At least this is how I feel. And I'm not
Yeah,
sure if you relate, but like you have to calm yourself before you hit an obstacle and like literally push. I see myself pushing out all the thoughts and be like, I'm safe. Everything's fine. We're just going to get through this.
yeah, yeah. Your mind can affect so much. Yeah. If you're discouraged, like you probably will. Like, if you imagine yourself like, oh, I'm gonna tip over. Oh, I'm gonna sell my bike. You will do that if you imagine it. And like, I always thought that stuff's kind of like woo woo, but like it's very true. Like, if you imagine yourself not being able to make it, like a hill, you're not gonna make it.
Yeah,
But if you like imagine yourself making it, you will. It's so weird.
totally.
It's crazy.
Visualization. I like 100% believe that that stuff helps so much with writing. So what, I guess from your experience with racing, um, what did you learn? And do you have any advice for those that are thinking about racing?
I learned that I'm pretty out of shape. I learned that I was not as in shape as I thought I was. Um, Yeah, I guess like in my head, I'm like, yeah, like I've ridden for like 2 hours. I could do that. I've done that before. And it's like, you're not like pushing yourself, or if you're like, just casually, you stop, get a drink of water, have a little
Mhm.
chit chat. Like, you
Mhm.
can't do that in a race. I mean, you can. It's like kind of frowned upon.
Right.
Um, uh, so that was part of it. And then whenever I was in the woods, like by myself, I learned definitely more about how like being in the right mental state can affect you. Because I just felt like there was points where I felt discouraged, or there's times where I was like so tired. All I wanted to do was just pull off and I quit. And I was like, wow, like just keeping yourself like not only going, but trying to go like a good speed when you're exhausted. It's like you really have to get into the right mental space for that. Um, Also, I learned that nutrition is super important. I had like a gel pack, and I was feeling awful, and I just like had some of the gel pack, and I like felt really good.
Mhm.
Um, I learned about just like right nutrition too, like make sure I ate before, like a couple days before, like
Mhm.
especially carbs. Um, because that definitely did help me. Do you ask any advice for new first time racers?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I would say to go with people that you feel like they're gonna support you, because you do need some people on like kind of like the sidelines for you, like give you gas and things like that. Definitely around people who like just want to see you do well and are happy for you. That helped a lot. Like seeing people like cheer me on. That was really nice. Um, and don't put like a ton of pressure on yourself to perform well. Like, just try to finish it, or even just try to like see how well you do. Like, it's your first race. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. I would say just like try it. Like, it's not gonna, there's so everybody had to start somewhere. Like, you're all the pros, they've had to start somewhere too. So
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Great advice. You did touch a little bit about this, but do you have a workout routine that has helped with dirt biking?
I would say anything, like I don't do anything specifically, but it is super interesting for me to like look at what muscles are being used, like what's sore, and like try to work on those.
Mhm.
And then I follow a couple people who do talk more into that, a couple like personal trainers, and how important like your core is. So I've been trying to do more, and I've been recently trying to be more consistent because I definitely went through like being lazy and not working out at all. But just like deadlifts, those are so awesome for riding because like it keeps your hips hinged instead of rolling your back, and then keeps your core tight. Just picking up your bike is so hard. So like that, trying to do those a lot. That's I would like to try to be able to do more than one pull up at one point, but I feel like your back is like super important to be able to also like pick your bike up and just like control the bars, and then like benching, like incorporating all of those into a workout routine and just like accessory work with it. But like like the big five lifts, like squat, bench. I didn't do say overhead press, pull up, and deadlift. Like those are all really good ones to that get you a lot stronger. That's like one thing I try to really work on is strength because like I have like guy friends who like my brother-in-law, he started a year before I did, and like how quickly like men progress, just being that much more strong helps you so much. And just trying to get stronger because I feel
Mhm.
like I'm weak when I when I ride sometimes, and my handlebars fall downhill and I'm trying to like pick it up uphill. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like I'm like completely gassed after that.
Mhm.
So cardio too, yeah. Cardio is super important.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I talk to people about like riding and they're like, how is that? Like, I don't get how it's like a workout. Like I get like sometimes when you pick your bike up, I'm like, it's so weird. Like if you stop, you're like panting, like your heart is racing, but it's like a really intense workout, super intense workout. Like the most intense workouts I've ever done is has been like on my dirt bike. So I guess sea time would probably be the best for fitness if you can. Is like 'cause it's such a good workout.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. And I have a lot of people being like, oh, dirt bikes, like that's not a workout. Like, how do you get tired? And yeah, no one knows until they've been through it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so satisfying if you like people who say that and they actually try it. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
So
hard.
true.
It's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Okay. Well, I am all about like, yeah, behind the scenes, what we do, like soul work or self-care. So what is something that you do to take care of yourself to ride?
Um, Working out definitely helps me a lot. I always like kind of joke that I'm like a golden retriever. I need like exercise, and I
Mhm.
think most people like you just need to like to be in a good space mentally. Like as much as I hate working out sometimes, like I need working out just to feel makes me feel so much better.
Mhm.
I like to, do my makeup and like dress kind of nice sometimes. Like I like to do that because I feel like you look good, you feel good.
Yes.
And that's like something that definitely helps me feel like more feminine after like ride my dirt bike and like covered in dirt. And like, like the next day if I can like look nice, it's like I can do both. I could be, you know, a pretty girl and then also ride a dirt bike. So I think that helps me a lot. And I watch a lot of I like YouTube a lot. I watch a lot of YouTube. I haven't been drawing or painting as much lately, but I want to get back into that for sure. And I know that's like a couple questions too.
Yeah, yes, that is a couple questions, but we'll talk about that after. Yeah. And then so something that I really, again, love to discuss are challenges, struggles. So is there something that you are struggling with or used to struggle with when it came to dirt biking?
I would say right now, I would love to be able to wheeling. That'd be awesome. I saw that you're like doing so well progressing with wheeling. Like you're getting it. Like it's so helpful with like everything, like getting over obstacles. Like there's just so many times where it really helps. So I really like to be able to do that.
Mhm.
So that's something I am struggling with. I just have to put more time into it.
Mhm.
And then I would always say, I'd say like mentally, just being in a good space is hard for me sometimes. Like if you have like a long day or like you have like a bad ride and you're like feeling kind of crappy. And I think I get discouraged sometimes and being able to like get out of that. Like if I have a good ride, it's like, oh, it was like such a good ride. I feel great. And if you have a bad ride, like you just start like if you fall and you feel discouraged, you fall again, and you're like, man, like I just like I keep falling, I'm doing so bad. And that like affects you from then on because those thoughts make you ride worse. Getting out of that is really, really hard for me. And then knowing like when to quit, like, am I quitting because I'm just like afraid and I should overcome this, or am I quitting because today's just not the day, like try again tomorrow, like the right time to like throw in the towel. Sometimes when writing, like sometimes I feel like I don't have that like self trust yet to know when to stop if something's not working out or if if I should just keep pushing myself because I'll feel better once I get through it. So I feel like I struggle with that. I don't know
Mhm.
if that's something you learn after years of writing, but I feel like I struggle with that for sure.
Yeah, I think listening to your body is like a huge one. And maybe that's something, maybe that's what you're talking about. Um,
Yeah.
just listening, like if you're falling all the time. I know I struggle the exact same way. It's like, oh, why am I falling so much? Like, oh, like I feel like I put so much time, so much seat time, but I'm sucking
Yeah.
today. Like, what's happening? I think, especially if you are working all day and then you go for an evening ride, for me, it's not the best time, but it might be the only time I get to ride. But just knowing
Hmm.
that my body is already tired, I'm exhausted, I just want to go to bed, giving yourself a little
Hmm.
bit of patience and forgiveness. I don't know if those are the words, but, or giving yourself grace, like you can't
Hmm.
have a good ride all the time. And when you do have that good ride, oh, you're on cloud nine. But
Yeah.
we all go through, those bad rides, and doesn't mean that we suck. It doesn't mean that, we're not a good rider. It's just our body telling
Yeah,
us that
exactly.
we need rest. But I'm not sure
Yeah.
if again, and I know I'm speaking on my behalf. I don't get to ride trails that often. So if I do get to ride, it might be like I said in the evenings, and I'm like, I don't do well in the evenings. I rather like ride early in the day because that's where I have all of my energy. So, but
Yeah.
that's the only time. That's the only time. So we just gotta kind of work with our energies, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think being a woman too, I feel like there's just definitely a difference between like the way we learn and the way like we progress
Mhm.
compared to men. Like I feel like we should be a little bit more intuitive sometimes when it comes to that because like you kind of have a woman's intuition. Like sometimes you have to trust yourself.
Mhm. Yes, which can be really hard. Yeah. Okay, well, we're gonna move on, as you mentioned, about your art. And again, I think that it's good, it's healthy to have other hobbies other than our sports. So tell us a little bit more about your art and what the mediums you work with and that sort of thing.
So I like to do like oil painting if I'm doing like a big painting, like oil, some acrylic. I was doing like I did little ornaments with pets on those for a couple months I did those. I was doing commissions. I like watercolor a lot because I like that I don't have a big setup or a big cleanup
Mhm.
and pencil. But I would say watercolor probably the most, just because it's not as intimidating to get into. Like I don't have to like, okay, I need to sit down and paint. Let me get all this stuff out and get it all set up and then breaking it all back down. I don't have to worry about like my brushes. If I like forget to clean my brush or something, it's not gonna get ruined. But I like those. Um and I like to do like realism. So I like doing like painting people, like landscape pets I was doing for a while. So,
That's cool. And so do you do all of your art like based on commissions? Do you do any pop-ups, like Christmas markets or anything like that?
so I wasn't doing commissions for a couple years. I started doing them again with my sister. So I have a twin sister who also paints too.
Oh, no.
And yeah, yeah, it's funny that we're both into painting. She's not into dirt bikes though yet. I think I could get her one day. But we were painting together, we were doing commissions, and we were both working full time. And it was just kind of hard to like keep up with doing that and like also like trying to balance your personal life on top of it. So I kind of like was like, I don't think I like commissions, at least for right now. So I haven't done commissions. But then after commissions, I didn't really have that much like motivation to paint for myself. So I definitely started making art a lot less, especially getting into dirt biking, I think. But I would like to get back into it. I think I just like put too much pressure on myself with art, and I feel like I um kind of made it hard for me to enjoy it at first. Like it felt like a chore for a while, so like my brain kind of associates it now with like a chore. But yeah, I would like to get a lot more into it, especially in the wintertime. There's gonna be a little bit less riding, so.
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. I find that also with art, doing commissions or that sort of thing, that sometimes it's not as motivating. Well, you get the work done, but to go ahead and do something for yourself after that can feel a little bit unmotivating.
Mhm.
But I guess like just taking the time. And so, do you have an art studio?
I have like a room in my house that I have set up as like kind of like my office slash art studio. But it's become like a catch-all for like if I have something and I'm like, I don't know where to put this. I'm gonna put this in here.
Yeah.
So I need to clean it out. That is probably part of it too, is like having a nice, like warm, comforting space to let you
Mhm.
want to be in to paint in. I think I
Mhm.
need to just that would be a big part of it is like making it a space that I feel comfortable and I want to sit in there and it's like nice and tidy and there's not just random junk in the corner. So,
Yes, I do believe about your environment. And if you want to be creative, you got to spruce it up, clean it up, and you want to feel like inspired to create. Yeah, I do believe that.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and you mentioned about the winter, and that was actually a question of mine is do you ride all year round?
So we get a decent amount of snow in the
Okay.
wintertime, but it's not been as like crazy as it was before. We don't get snow like you guys get where you can snowmobile in it.
Yeah.
But we get like just like wet, like just damp snow and it's like sloshy a lot of times. So but whenever there's days where it's like nice out, we do try to ride in the wintertime.
Mhm.
But it doesn't snow until like late November and even early December. Like it's pretty nice. So we try to ride if it's like a clear day.
Mhm.
Um, so we try to ride as much as we can. And then early spring, we try to ride. That's like really challenging, like slippery,
Mhm.
gross. Like it definitely tests your skills that time of year where it's really muddy. But
Totally.
we try to.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And like you said, it's hard. It's hard to ride in that for sure. Yeah. Um,
Mhm.
all right. Well, let's chat future, Sasha. So what are some goals that you have for the next couple months? And you can maybe talk a little bit about what you're going to do in the winter as well.
So I've mentioned about willing. I would love to be able to willy. Even just I don't want to be able to just like a riding willy. I don't need to do that now. I just want to be able to like pop up the front end when I need to. That's a big goal for mine in the next couple months. Just like riding a little bit more consistently, like pushing myself a little bit more, getting a little faster, and just challenging myself a little bit more. Um, I think I was kind of like just going with the flow for a while after being injured, so I'd like to actually like start progressing a little bit more. Um, but yeah, just get better on the bike, but not, try to put too much pressure on myself because it is a hobby that I'm doing for fun.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then to do more art, definitely. Like after like looking at these questions, I'm like I do miss art. I do miss
Mhm.
painting and making art, being creative. I think that's like part of my brain that needs to be used sometimes is like making
Mhm.
art as well as writing. Like those two different things are make me a balanced person.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Actually, my friend told me that it's like the yin to the yang. You need your sports, but you also need like a creative outlet, but that's not sport oriented. That's, more of a
Yeah.
calming, but you're still like learning. Yeah. Anyways, I found that very fascinating. I do believe that we
Yeah, that's
need that type
interesting.
of balance. Hmm.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, for sure. And you did mention about putting pressure on yourself. That is my next question is, would you say you put pressure on yourself when it comes to riding?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, definitely. It's like I was talking to my husband about this last night. Like I love like when I started writing, like I found like your page, which was awesome because I found like through your page a lot of other like women who ride. And that's been like super motivating and like seeing what's possible to do. But I think at the same time, like you compare yourself a lot easier when you see things like that all the time and you like subconsciously compare yourself and you're like, oh, like I should be able to do that. Why can't I do that yet? So I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself and like I love social media because I'm doing this because of social media. Like I get to meet you from social media. I get
Mhm.
to meet so many people. I get to like reach out to people that I want to ride with and got to ride with some people. But at the same time, like I do feel like it can be discouraging if you are in the wrong mindset and you let yourself like have those thoughts and you get discouraged and you compare yourself to people. But I definitely do get discouraged. And I don't know if I think that's probably a common thing. Like you just feel like, oh my gosh, like why am I even doing this? I'm so bad. Like you just get that like weird mindset. So for sure I get discouraged.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can all relate to that. And any advice you would like to give to women who are dipping their toes into the sport?
I would say to just try it. And even if you might have like a time, like a bad ride and you cried and you like are embarrassed, like just keep trying. Like when I first started riding, I just would get so frustrated and like impatient with myself. And I would, my husband would try and show me stuff and I would just get like upset and like tear up and stuff. So I would say just like be patient with yourself, just keep trying. Like you're not going to be amazing after a week. And even if you do improve, like you're not going to feel like you're good enough if you're in that mindset to just try to keep trying and be patient and um, don't don't think you need to be at a certain level at a certain point just because someone else is.
Hmm. Hmm. Awesome. And a quote you live by.
I really like the quote, if some other person is doing it, then it's possible and you can do it too. I feel like that's something you feel like it's impossible or you see someone doing it, like they're doing it and they're a person too, like you could potentially do that as well. I think that's like been really a really helpful quote for me is that it's like, you know, if someone else can do it, you could do it. Like
Hmm.
it's possible.
Hmm.
So
Awesome. And where can we follow you and your journey as an athlete?
I was laughing about that yesterday. I'm like, an athlete. That makes me sound like fancy, but Sasha Vitalie is my Instagram handle. And I also have a page called First Gear Heroes with my writing group where we post like funny videos. My sister-in-law, she's part of it, and my husband, and like we just like to joke around on there and anything funny that happens, we like to post it on there. So First Gear Heroes and Sasha Vitalie. I don't really use Twitter or anything.
Yeah.
I'm trying to use Threads, but it's kind of hard.
Yeah. It's all the things, all the social media. It's
Yeah,
hard to
there's a
keep up.
lot.
Yeah. It's like I gotta
I don't
post
know how
here.
you do it
Post here.
all.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah, with
like,
TikTok and Reels too.
yeah.
Like,
I don't know. It's just sometimes I feel like very overwhelmed because I'm showing my face and all the things and got to keep up with it. But anyways, it's all fun. I do love it. It's just can be a bit much at times. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes definitely. Just step
Yeah.
back.
That's actually something that we didn't really touch on was your riding crew because I wanted to hear a little bit more. Do you have time to
Oh,
talk about
okay. Yeah,
that? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I said
Okay.
I didn't have like a time frame that I said I'd be back, so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your riding crew and the page that you built.
So my husband, he kind of like came up with the concept, and then his brother came up with a name. Like we were just like joking, like we should make a group. And he's like, well, first gear heroes, like we're always in first gear. Like we just joke around about like we're all like late 20s, early 30s, like just like riding around as a group, having fun. But it's like my husband, his brother, and then my sister's husband. He started riding in the past couple years, so he's part of our group.
Mm.
Her nephew, my sister-in-law, that's my husband's little sister. I also have we've branched out a little bit more like with friends and stuff. Like we've met a couple people that we're pretty close to, and some of them are newer, like how I am.
Mhm.
And some of them have been riding their whole lives, but they like, there's a girl I met recently, and she always raced motocross and she wants to do more off-road stuff. So having like a group to ride with is always nice to have. So yeah, we've been like branching off and like just finding more people in the area that we get to ride with. And but yeah, we don't take ourselves very seriously. Like none of us are like, like pro racers or anything like that. And like my husband races for fun.
Mhm.
And but we got to ride with a couple really good riders, and yeah, it's been really cool. It's a nice group of people. We all like support each other too, cheer each other on.
Awesome. That's the type of crew that you should have for sure. And it's all about having fun, which
Yeah.
I love hearing that. Oh, sounds like you have a good supportive group for sure. Okay, so my next thing, I didn't tell you about this, but it's a 5 questions. You're just gonna blurt out whichever one. So it's just really quick, one or the other.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So wet logs or wet rock slabs.
Oh man, I would say rocks.
Okay. Okay. Hydro water pack or water bottle in your backpack.
Oh man, I'd say hydro pack, but they are annoying to clean out. But I will always do like a hydro pack instead.
Okay. 2-stroke or 4-stroke.
Two strokes for sure.
Woo.
Yeah,
Log
before that.
log hops or jumps.
Oh man, I would say a jump because I haven't done a log hop.
Okay. Or
I've
like
done a little
going over
baby jump.
logs. It doesn't have to be a log hop. Just going over logs or
Okay. For now, jumps because I have been schooled before, but
okay. And then last one is single track or double track.
single track.
Awesome. I don't know. Is it glitching on your end?
My it did pop up. There's like a poor connection or something. Not
Okay.
sure. Is it
Okay.
still glitching?
It's not as bad now, but I think I got it all recorded. So it's all
Okay.
good.
Oh, okay. That's
But
awesome.
yeah, but you know what? That actually brings us to the end of our show. So thank you so much for joining me, Sasha. I really do appreciate you spending the time with me. I got to know you a little bit better, know more of your story, and I just appreciate you opening up and sharing all of it with us.
Thanks for having me on. This is a really cool experience. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll do it again. We'll catch up maybe next year. And I just can't wait to see more of your journey over on socials. And I can't wait to see that wheelie.
Maybe next year.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. Well, have a good day and I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.